The Winged Dragon a raw oops all spells and Predaplant action too. Make sure you guys smash the and crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. I've honestly been surprised with the cool little innovations that I've been seeing some of these OCG players come up with, at least in terms of the fun department for some of these lists. Because who thinks of wanting to build Winged Dragon or raw Ice Jade? Because it just doesn't seem like a logical deck to come up with, but I think that's actually one of the cooler things that we can see, especially when you start getting involved with Egyptian God Slime and some of the other particular cards that a deck like this can actually access. You do kind of start to see some little cool play lines starting to be formed. And I actually think that that's actually really, really awesome. We take for granted some of these like cool ideas that you can kind of write up and actually do your thing. But I think this one was probably one of the more creative options that we've seen. So here's to the Winged Dragon Ra. I think probably being one of the cooler challengers that I have seen so far. Next up is Oops All Spells. This deck is the definition of what is the best way to kind of take advantage of all of the good different engines that we can kind of have in a deck. Obviously, having the base Sky Striker package built into the deck is going to kind of give you some navigation for the deck. And obviously, being able to have these play lines within the deck, obviously, Ready Fusion is going to kick into being a starter for this deck, which is kind of interesting, I guess, to say the least. I don't know, maybe looking at the different ways to make this deck work just seems interesting to me. Also, you might have to adjust ratios. I do fully believe that we could see an actual deck like this being built in the actual TCG. You're just going to lose to Naturia Beast 150% of the time with a deck like this, because you literally have no way to handle a Naturia Beast, no droplets or anything. Next up is a Red Eyes Predaplant list. Now, I've been seeing people are experimenting around with the Predaplant stuff. They've been testing out all of these different ideas, because when it comes down to the basic fundamentals of the Predaplant stuff, you get the new stuff locks you into dragon and plant. You do have a nice little adjustment way to kind of, build up a semi-cool board for you to work with. I mean, case in point here, we have Black Rose Dragons and things like that within the extra deck as options to fundamentally work with. And I do think that that's actually kind of really cool, when we can start to see, oh, hey, I can pivot into this option, or, the Predaplant stuff works very, very well with existing plant stuff already. So this is a synergy pile that seems very fun, and it definitely does some things that I hadn't really considered. Next up here, we have Heroes. Now, the Hero deck in Japan, I mean, you're going to have people experimenting around with whichever different variation that they can just throw at the wall and actually get it to stick. Because, I mean, that's the creativity that players are going for at the moment, Obviously, still having Plasma in the main deck. A lot of builds have been kind of deviating from Plasma, at least in terms of the innovations, which is fine. You've got different forms and different approaches of methods for you to be able to kind of handle the way that the deck is evolving in that better direction. So kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at like the way that Heroes are kind of evolving at the moment. Obviously, you have more of the evil hero stuff in here than some of the other lists that I've seen. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of comes down to your innovation lines. Do you feel that X is more important than Y for the hero stuff? Oh, wow. We actually have the magicians actually seeing play. So it's kind of sad to me. Because, if we had Electromite, we could truly get involved with some of the different ideas that you could do with pendulums. But because we don't have access to Electromite, unfortunately, our pendulum slop decks, as you like to call it, I don't necessarily get the chance to come together. Now, the Odd Eyes, the Magicians, everything that this list has developed and actually had so far is actually pretty good. I do like that hand traps are a little bit weird for the one-ofs, but I'm not going to hate that. They've also got the Supreme Zark trap card built in here. You've also got to remember, the new Astrograph does give you some fusion capabilities, which is, I guess, kind of cool. I also like that, we have 1/1/1 on all of the Astrograph sorcerers for you to work with. So, hey, innovation. Next up here, oh my gosh, it's the legendary Sue ships. So, Sue ships, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about this. I'm not saying that this is the best innovative approach to the deck, but I thought this was really cool because actually having the surfacing big jaws in the deck to actually act as a little extra water package for you to navigate into actually is kind of nice. We talk about just needing to have those little inclusions into the deck. I think actually does kind of help things out with your deck building side of things. So don't underestimate what starts to happen when, you take a look at a list like this and you're like, oh, hey, can we sculpt in, things like this? Also, this being a Genesis list for them to test out, I think is going to be really, really cool as well. So, hey, Sue ships definitely wasn't on my bingo sheet of things to see. Next up here, we have Monarchs, and this isn't just any Monarchs. No extra deck. We just forego playing that. We got the domain built into the main deck, which is fine. I do see that this list is playing 2 Fua, and they're also playing the Kashtira package. Kashtira package in Japan is so much worse off than the one on our side of the game, because we just don't have, we have multiple Fenrir. They're limited to the one whole Fenrir that they get in their deck building prowess. So that's a little bit of a problem. I do see we've also got the double Blue Eyes Soul Exchange spell card built into the deck. Being able to, use your opponent's cards as essential stepping stones for you to actually build into play the game is actually really, really nice. I do, being able to tribute your opponent's stuff for you to be able to play the game is, I think, one of the most important aspects of modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! And it also, answers problems. Next up here, we have water. Wow. I have not seen a competent water list in ages. I think most people have just kind of turned away from water at this point. Fish Sonar is still an amazing card. It's also one of the few decks that can actually make use of Torrential Tribute within the deck to be able to do things with it. And it's so cool just to see that, having access to Torrential Tribute as an actual main deck option is still hilarious. Also, 7 Tachyons giving you bridge access to any of your pieces. It's actually really nice. We do have the double Foolish Real Goods, the double Ice Barrier within the deck. I feel like that's a pretty normal thing that you want to see. I also love the whole pot of extra that this list is generating. Because, it's an option, right? You actually are able to do some stupid things with this. So that's definitely hilarious. Next up here, we have Galaxy Eyes. There are a lot of different methods of madness that you can kind of go about with trying to construct a competent Galaxy Eyes list at the moment. I think one of the things I appreciate most about this list is we're only playing one of the new Galaxy Eyes. Obviously, you have the new Photon Orbital in here, maximizing as, a 3 of, because the card's actually kind of broken. We also do see, we're only doing 2 Galaxy Soldiers. Well, when you kind of start to get into, the techier options that this deck has, you're going to notice that players are going to start cutting back on certain things just to kind of get the deck a little bit more optimized, at least for their playtesting. Obviously, your goal is to spam out rank 8 after rank 8 after rank 8. And also, Galaxy Ice has received so many cool rank 8s at the moment that you have a pretty strong toolbox of options to be able to handle a lot of these modern era problems. And our last list here is Power Patron Hands, Slifer the Sky Dragon. Yeah, you heard me say that correctly. When I first saw this list, I was like, what is this garbage? But I was like, we'll toss it in because, you've got a lot of different play lines kind of coming together here for you to kind of make this incredibly dumb idea. And I'm not sure on, the viability of this. This is just kind of one of those, I saw it and I was like, this is really, really interesting. Is there actually something to this? I mean, time will tell, but please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Lots of fun little innovations, and that's just what we're here for. You guys have a good rest of your day. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.